Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Latched podcast. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, the Latched podcast is for mothers and parents and anybody in the trenches of raising tiny people. Today, we are going to talk about the dreaded fall, winter sickies and how to navigate it, some of our hacks. You're listening to Latched Mama Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Wirt, busy mom of 6 and owner of LatchedMama.com. Join us each week as we talk about pregnancy, breastfeeding, postpartum, and all things motherhood. Hi, friends.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, you have your everything is fine sweatshirt on. I bought those for us because that's what we used to say during the pandemic. And then we both started therapy, and we try not to say it anymore.
I still wear it.
We try and really name our feelings when we're feeling things now, instead of say that they're fine. Although I default to fine all the time.
It is a staple statement.
Yes. Hi.
A lady that I kind of know, she's a nurse, like out in another county.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she was just sharing how many sick kids and just
Is she upset that they're coming to school, or she's
No.
like
just in general, just how many are out, and just communication via parents and attendance and things like that. And I just think there's times in school where it's just
everybody.
It's crazy. I mean, everybody's up on top of each other, and germs are flying. And
poor Corey, who works for us, I feel like she's had one thing after another after another. All right, so quiz. Would you prefer cold snot respiratory that lasts for 2+ weeks, or puke that lasts for 24 to 48 hours?
Puke.
Go. Puke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather all 6 kids be sick at one time, or one after another, after another, after another?
What kind of sickness are we talking about?
I don't know. It's so hard. And the big family
I don't want
thing,
6 pukers, although mine are a little bit older now. So they're 6 and up. So
6 pukers, get it done in like 48 hours. And
yeah. Well, no, my first thing is 100%. I will knock it out altogether.
You'd rather puke than respiratory stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if people are super needy and I have to carry, that's why I was like, what are we?
But then now they're bigger though.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I go back and forth because I get a lot more anxiety with puke.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because it's puke, because it's so easily spread, because it's messy, because I don't want it to happen in public, because I don't want to get it. Probably because I would much rather
laundry and just all the stuff.
I would much rather a 2-week cold personally, although I haven't had a 2-week cold, knock on wood, in a long time, than 24 hours of the stomach bug. Like the stomach bug makes me like want to look for like the pearly gates and like the light and just die.
But like, would you really take that like KK?
Yeah,
with the ongoing,
so
where you like lose your mind versus 48 hours.
So we just came off of like, there's only been 2 times in my parenting journey so far, and so Nathan's 10.5. He was 10.5 this week. There's only been 2 times with 6 kids that I've ever truly been fearful that something is like definitely wrong with my child. One time, Alex, this was probably 3 years ago, and I don't know what had happened. A nanny had just left us who had mono, so I don't know if there was something in play. And then he got 3 vaccinations, including the chicken pox. I don't know. Our kids are vaccinated. It's fine. It's whatever it is. But he got sick about 48 hours after that checkup. So it could have been something he picked up from the pediatrician or whatever. But he was down for I walked up to school uphill in the snow. I think it was probably, looking back with like a healthy brain right now without anxiety over a sick kid, I think it was probably a week. It was probably less than that. It was probably 5 or 6 days with a fever. But I start to get pretty high anxiety at day 4 to 5 with a fever.
Yeah.
Which I know I probably shouldn't, but I think my kids just haven't had them enough for me to like relax into it. And I think it's one of those things in parenting. Every time it happens and you get through it, it's almost like childbirth. Like you have a little bit more confidence going into it and you can look at it a little bit with more clear brain. But there's something about fevers for me that just their entire personality changes And that starts to scare me a lot. I don't know. Even the older ones, like watching a toddler go down with a fever, and you can give them some Motrin and then they kind of perk back up and they're okay, is completely different in my mind than watching like a 6, a 7, and 8-year-old go down with a fever, because they just look like, in my opinion, that they're like dying and it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's so funny because, they don't talk about this stuff. They don't talk about like, I don't know. It's like, are you bringing them to the doctor? Give them some Motrin. It's fine. And it's hilarious because like somebody will slack like in the company, like, got a sick kid, what's going around? Or my kid's on like day 3 of a fever. And I'll be the first one to be like, your kid's fine. You're okay. Take a deep breath. Go take some time for yourself. Like, what can I do to help your workload? And like, I can like, quote unquote, parent them through that so easily. But then when it's my kid and they're on day 3 of a fever, I'm a freaking hot mess.
Yeah.
And it happens to you too. I watch it happen to you.
100%.
I
do the same thing.
So funny.
Yeah. I freak out. And then literally 15 minutes later, and I'm like, I talk to myself. I'm like, what are you actually going to do about it? Like nothing. And you just found out today, which means they were probably contagious yesterday. And we all just licked the same spoon. So it's pretty much like just accept like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And there's really nothing you can do about it. So like take a deep breath and just, it's going to be okay. But in the moment you're like, I'm going to Clorox this and I'm going to do this. And do I take him here? And do I get this? And
it's crazy.
It's
especially when you have more kids and you have a bigger family and you don't want it to spread.
Yeah.
I saw this post. It was a high school, I guess, friend, just somebody I went to high school with. But I knew that he had just brought home his new, like, 2-week-old baby. And his post was so angry. Like, I could read the anxiety in it. It was coming from a dad. And he was like, I can't believe that people are sending their kids to school with snotty noses. I'm at Kid Med with my toddler or my like 4-year-old or 5-year-old or whatever. And I can't believe that people are doing this. And you knew that it was coming from a place of just being terrified for his infant and for bringing, a baby home into a house with a toddler in the fall and having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 winter fall babies myself. Oh, it's terrible because you can't. I mean, I have a picture of when Caroline held Benjamin for the first time. It's Benjamin's birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday. 5 years ago. It was about 2 weeks before Caroline got to hold her baby brother, simply because she had a snotty nose. I mean, I'm sure she could have given him anything. But those little immune systems, for the most part, are pretty resilient, especially if you're breastfeeding. But it's scary and it's hard and it's so full of anxiety. And I know I'm supposed to be giving you all advice right now, but it's just, maybe I'm just sitting with you in the feelings and the emotions of just like being scared and knowing that it's a little irrational. Yeah. But, it's hard.
And it's so easy to try to communicate that it's going to be okay. And to be honest, there's not a whole ton you can do to potentially change an outcome. I mean, if kids are in the home and siblings, they're either going to get it or they're not, regardless of whether you quarantine one or, are you everybody lick doorknobs and hug your baby? And not everybody lick doorknobs, but are you like a full on mothering when your kids are sick, or do you try and protect yourself and the other kids from them? If one is like got a fever or whatnot, I do find a place for them to rest. It can be very loud and busy, and I just know when I have a fever, which is not often, but you are kind of tired, and I feel like you get mentally exhausted more. So they want to go find a quiet space, and so they, will hole up in a room and take the time and whatnot. So if I can, but I don't like freak out about it anymore. Like I remember when my oldest brought COVID home in like January. And we were we're in public school and dealing with just like the crazy rules and stuff like that. I literally should have had them all just hang out together 100%, because that dragged on for 3 weeks where we maybe could have cut it down to 2.
But it was a super mild situation. They were vaccinated too.
Lennox was, and he brought it home. My husband and I were, but my other kids were not. So But yeah, I depends. I mean, is throw up? Like, absolutely no way.
Yeah,
like, no.
Don't you get near that.
But to be honest, unless, and maybe this is just with the, having more and more kids, like the fever, like unless your back's hot, I'm really not going to take your temperature.
Yeah.
Which by the time, if your back's hot, you're probably a good 101, 102, and I'm not going to know the others. So I do think like you were just asking me, do you separate? And I'm like, well, probably only going to know if you've truly got something. So yeah I'm going to go find you like a quiet space to kind of like try to get better. But
yeah, that's another
I'm not
one.
going to know the other ones. I'm just really not.
It's another one of those like mom hacky, maybe just personal things that I do. I don't normally take temperatures. I can tell by looking, by touching a
Behavior.
kid. And then if it's been going on long enough, I mean, the temperature in my mind is just known to figure out whether it's viral or bacterial. So, your super, super high ones, but then you can get super, super high ones with roseola and like hand, foot, mouth and stuff too. I don't know. I don't know when a number is really that truly important.
And just a general reminder that like the temps are good. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
To,
the temperatures.
to fight.
Yeah.
So,
when they go higher.
We often don't. I say, hey, we do have some medication if you are miserable. Like I've had one that was miserable with 100 fever and then one that had 104.5 and was like, no, I'm good. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Just keep drinking. Like,
yeah. It's hard when they're younger. I don't know. It's so interesting because I just had an experience with Catherine. I don't know. Everybody got a cold that last week we were at the beach. I was miscarrying. It was freaking terrible to come home to. And Catherine was the last one to get it. And everybody else rocked through it. Even the baby. Everybody was great. She got it with like 3 or 4 days left in vacation. And she got home. We got home from the trip. She threw up that night, which I thought was just from like, I don't know, mucus and stuff. Everybody had tested COVID negative. But then a couple of days later, she said her legs hurt, which flipped me out because it was the first time I have ever had a kid with like who couldn't walk when they were sick, which don't Google what that means because it sent me. And I have to give myself some grace because I'm sure my hormones were doing what my hormones were supposed to be doing through a miscarriage and whatever the heck that was happening in my body was at the time. It was really, really tough few parenting weeks. But I finally so I was talking to the pediatrician. We have a like concierge pediatrician who comes to us and he's delightful. He's very conservative with antibiotics. He's very, I don't know. I've only had one sick visit in 6 years with him. I think I probably should have had him come over sooner than I did, just simply from my own psychological well-being, because he also didn't know what else was going on in my life. But I eventually had him come over when she still had leg pain. The fever had gone away. The fever had come back. I was freaking out. And he showed up and he's like, what do you need to hear right now? And it was actually one of those like really nice, like, I don't know. I mean, it kind of came across a little condescending, but it also came across as like, he looked at me and he said, 90% of what I do is take care of the parents. He was like, tell me what you need from me right now, which was really nice. He was like, it's viral, whatever it is. She's going to be okay. She does not have leukemia. And I was like, how did you know? And he was like, because I know that's where your brain is. Like, he's like, you haven't. And that's what's cool about having a good relationship with a pediatrician. But we all go to crazy town. Maybe we don't all. Maybe there are people out there who can literally zen their way through these mysterious viruses that these kids get. I am not one of them. I don't know. It's crazy. But anyways, what he said to me, he was like, my entire career, because he's, reaching probably somewhat at some point at the end of his pediatric career. But he's like, my entire career has been literally making parents be comfortable with unknown viruses. He's like, I can't tell you what it is. He's like, it'll present itself. He's like, and as it goes on, and she ended up breaking out into a rash. He said it was hand, foot, and mouth. I don't know. It was a little aggressive in terms of the rash for hand, foot, and mouth. Who knows? But I don't know. I don't know what the moral of the story is. The moral of the story is get a good doctor, first of all. Get a good friend that lets you be a little crazy. Because you let me be crazy. My husband didn't let me be crazy. My husband was just like, what are we going to do? Just love her. Make her eat. Give her a popsicle. Give her some Motrin if she'll take it. She's going to be fine. No. Why do we do that? Is it because we love them so much?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Like my logical brain right now says I was in Crazy Town, and I know I probably was hormonally too, but like, no, you would have called people would have taken their kid to the pediatrician.
Yeah, I would
carried her into the pediatrician because she said she could not walk. It was terrifying. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing. So.
I don't know. These unexplained viruses, I think, are put in this world.
And I don't know. I know you say you look back and you were in Crazy Town. Like, I don't think you were. Like, it was
scary.
When you start combining those kinds of different symptoms, of course, it's just, you love them.
Yeah.
And that part of your brain just goes down that road. Like, totally get it. It's like when I searched pinworms.
Oh, yeah. Oh, let's talk about that. Do you
no. I'm just saying, like, that's 100% right there. Like, your brain just goes.
You want to talk about your Sunday night?
Oh, my Sunday night.
So we've been at a swim meet.
We're adding another household medication to add to the Zofran pack.
So there are certain things that I feel like every family should have.
The hacks.
Little hacks, which I mean, I feel like we're in a country that, prescription medications kind of a little locked down a little bit more in other countries. I truly feel like if you have more than one child, you should keep Zofran on hand. And I am just, I think that when that big like norovirus hits, it is spread through the vomit. And if you can somehow, which it's almost impossible, keep it less vomit coming out and not spreading said vomit, your life hopefully will be better. Now, I don't think that there's any hope with the norovirus and Zofran until you use the Zofran to help them actually get some fluids in them and get the anxiety level down.
Sometimes you just need to get all of that out.
But there are some, and I give them the chance. I give them the 8 hours of puking and whatever. But then we put a little half of Zofran under our tongue and see if we can get some fluids in us and get going. But oh my God, this entire podcast, we're going to get like emails about the fact that we're not doctors, whatever. But
we need a disclaimer.
There needs to be a disclaimer somewhere in this. But I do believe with some of the rotaviruses or some of the other intestinal stuff, if you really can get that Zofran in at 12 hours or 24 hours and you can actually stop the vomiting, you can save other people in the family. And I don't know. I don't even want to talk about swim champs this year. That was not a good experience in my life. So my kid said, I'll tell the story because at this point, this entire podcast is just a dumpster fire of people getting mad at us. But, so my kids randomly swim year round for summer swim champs. And if those of you who don't have swim families, it's just weird because like year round swimming is like a little bit more intense and I don't know, important. Is any of it important than actual summer swim? Summer swim is fun, but there's like a summer swim champs meet that it has really, in our league, has really hard qualifying times for. And kids really, truly almost have to swim year round to get there. So anyways, Nathan started when he was 8 and it was like one of the first things that I couldn't like buy my way into. Like, I mean, not that I buy my way into things, but it was like one of the first things. Like when he says, I want to go to Busch Gardens and, I make Busch Gardens happen because I have enough money to take him to amusement park. That's what I'm talking about. But he wanted to go to swim champs and I'm like, buddy, at 7, 8 years old, I'm like, dude, you don't have times. Like, there's nothing I can do about this. And he was like, I don't understand. And I'm like, no, you have to swim faster. And he was like, well, how do I swim faster? And I'm like, well, you can swim year round. So this poor kid went to this indoor pool. I'm saying like he has opportunity, but he didn't like it. He went to this indoor dark pool, this homeschool swim practice 3 days a week. And he was fast enough to go to summer swim champs, but then COVID hit. And so there wasn't summer swim team. And then the next year he aged up. So even with swimming year round, he still wasn't fast enough to make it to champs. And so we were on year 3 this year. Yeah. And summer swim champs came. And it was one of the first things in like parenting where I'm like, this really doesn't matter in the big scheme of life, but oh my God, my kids are making it to this meet. Yeah. So all 3 of the older kids were qualified and were supposed to go to this meet. And long story short, their little sister and their little brother threw up 48 hours before. And I was like, I was crying. I'm not going to lie. I was crying because I'm like, oh my gosh, these kids have worked so hard. And Nathan alone is literally, this is like.
He's waited how long?
He's waited 3 years for this. And it's
And
just one of
worked
those
hard
things.
for, like, 2
And he's a
years, yeah.
homeschooled kid, so there aren't like certificates all the time in his life. There's nothing. He doesn't get to go up to an assembly and get the best kid in science or, the most cooperative learner or anything. He's going for this meet. And so luckily my mom was in town. She took the other two little ones to the old house and we like quarantined. So we never quarantined that badly, but we quarantined them. Well, at
I remember you texting me.
this is terrible. So the night before the swim meet, 5 p.m. The swim meet was the next morning at 8 a.m. 5 p.m. Alex throws up. Okay.
The night before
The night before the meet. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. Everybody's fine. And then at 3 a.m. Caroline throws up and I'm like, okay, we're still good. It's just Nathan that I'm worried about. Nathan is the only one that has to make it to the swim meet. So 5 p.m., 3 a.m., and then I go to wake up Nathan because we've got to get in the car and go. I have no idea what's going to happen with the other two kids. And Nathan's like, Mom, I don't feel well. And I literally was like one of those moments where I literally just wanted to crawl into a ball, put the covers over my head and just bawl my eyes out because I just wanted this so badly for him. So he threw up. Oh my God. I gave them all Zofran. I put them in the car. We pull over halfway to the swim meet because Nathan says he's going to throw up again. We let him get out of the car and walk around the Food Lion parking lot. He stays in the car through warm-ups. The other two are golden. They're fantastic. They don't feel sick. They feel fantastic.
Didn't they have the best swimming
They
ever?
had so then Nathan makes it in for his relay and I'm literally, and they had this like ready room so you can't see them get ready. And I'm like, he's either puking and thank God there were trash cans everywhere because it was like this all day meet with different age groups. So like there were trash cans because they didn't want to have to clean up the pool deck. And so I'm like, thank God, like the big stadium, huge ones that you couldn't miss even if you tried when you were puking, And I'm like, well, thank God that's there. And for my benefit, I had given them all a COVID test. So I knew it wasn't COVID. They weren't puking. They were all a little green. I gave them some Gatorade, didn't give Nathan anything. I told him he could not put anything in his body before he swam. Oh my God. Anyways.
Just get in the chlorine.
Anyway, that's what I figured. I was like, worst case,
dive in the chlorine.
The chlorine's going to kill everything. It's fine. So anyways, all three of them got through the meet and all three of them had the best swim meet they've ever had. They all came home with medals. We survived, but I don't know. I don't know what the point of the story is other than it's terrible. It's terrible that kids get sick. Okay, so Zofran. Zofran's the end of the story.
Zofran.
I also think
our little stash.
Yeah. I also think an EpiPen, if you have any sort of anaphylactic things, I guess that's probably standard just to have an EpiPen around you on trips.
I don't know if anybody can just go get one. You're
you're
going
have
to need
some
to have
sort
some
of like
episode
of something.
or emergency situation or something.
And then what else did we decide? Oh, a nebulizer. If you've ever had like really bad RSV in your house and you have a bunch of kids, especially little ones, and you know that the older ones are going to bring something home.
Yep.
You can actually order one. I know the ER had to give us one when Nathan was sick.
Yeah, we bought ours like 7 years ago and we were able to purchase it through our pediatrician.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't bad on cost. I have no idea what they are now.
Yeah. And even if you're not putting a steroid in it, just
that's
saline.
the thing. It's not, you can use it as just a basic kind of saline treatment. Just mist.
Yeah.
Just getting moisture in. That's a cool thing to have as well.
Another disclaimer, we're going to put them everywhere. Not doctors, just moms that are trying to do our best at keeping our family moving forward during the sickies. But we're so Lindy's
so then
story.
we're gonna add
okay, so Lindi and I are at a swim meet all week. Lindi is
it was a long weekend.
It was you had a horse show.
I was
you had
Friday
a
at a swim meet, Saturday early morning 6 a.m. Then my daughter had a horse show, and then Sunday 6 a.m. So my girl, I guess I put her to bed like 8 o'clock, like totally fine, like no issues or whatever. At 9:30, she came. She's like, I had to go to the bathroom. She's like, my butt's really itchy, and I'm like, my standard answer is like, well, let's go wash our hands.
And they're cleaning themselves by themselves now.
Yeah, they're like 6 now, so they rarely ask me to help wipe.
Do they have to wipe themselves at school if they go to the bathroom? Okay.
But my girls are great. Like, they're really good at washing their hands because they like to play in the sink. So they just use half the bottle of soap, and I really just don't care.
Okay.
So yeah, she's like, so my butt's itchy, and so I always am like, we just slap some ointment on. And another one of my girls, she's like, and no, Mom, I don't need ointment. Like, it's just my standard answer, right? And so then she goes back, and then like Matt heard her at like 11.
Yeah.
And he's like, she's like really crying. Like she says it's like really painful.
And Lindy's family all sleeps. Lindy has good sleepers for the most part. Like, you don't normally hear your kids.
Yeah, they like kick me out of their bed. So yeah, she's like, I'm pain, and I'm like, could it be like a little fissure? Like, you know, like I don't know, because sometimes they just don't poop for 3 days and then they poop. So I was like, maybe like that just hurts. I'm like, the ointment will help. She doesn't want any more ointment, and then like, I don't know, Matt's about to put ointment on, and I'm laying there, and I'm like, I'm gonna go check something. So I go checking with my flashlight, and like literally want to vomit all over. There's like 3 like little white pinworms, and I'm like, whoa. It was so gross. And then Matt's standing next to me. He's like, what the heck?
I feel like kids get, I feel like
this is such a common thing. Like then I went down Google land, which is like made me want to throw up even more. But anyways, it's super common. They're not terrible things, but they're itchy.
They're terrible things because they are,
but they're not going to cause like, they're not going to cause anything else. Anyways, it's a little like parasite like said, but it starts like in your anyways.
Does it go all the way through like your mouth, through your
That's
stomach?
That's how it starts. Through your intestines.
Hold on, do you actually eat the worms? You eat the eggs, and then the eggs hatch?
Let's not go there. All you need to know is this medicine is absolutely amazing, and it is over the counter. So just put some at home, because it was literally 11:30 at night. Matt, we're trying to find out what 24-hour pharmacy is open, who has it stocked on their shelves.
Hold on, did Matt come in and see the worms?
Yes, he's standing next to me, and I'm like, shh, this smells like slim. Like, he's like, what is that? It was really, really funny. But I mean, it's kind of like your lice thing. Like, the more I read, it's like, these things just live in dust in your carpet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just need to burn my house down. Like, I just need to get rid of all the things. And they're like, it dies in like either really hot water or freezing cold temperatures. So just put all your stuff outside. And I'm just picturing like
how do you put
like
6 kids
loading my rugs outside? Like, this is not going to happen. Anyways, this medicine's fantastic. It's a 1 dose. And then she takes another dose in 2 weeks. But anyways, so he ran around to this pharmacy, and I'm reading Google, and it's like, just dose everybody in your house. Just preventative, dose everybody. Nobody else had symptoms.
You don't even
nothing.
have any pets.
And I'm like, and he's in these, like, they only have 4. He's like, but they're only 1 dose. And I'm like, honey, just buy it out. Just buy it all off the shelf. Ask if there's more. And so he comes home with all this stuff. And like, the first thing he walks in, he's like, here it is. He takes one out and he doses himself.
Before he does anybody else.
Your daughter? He's like, I'm not getting that stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You didn't tell me that part. That is the best. That may be worse than making their plate and sitting down before the kids have eaten.
Maybe because the pooping is sacred and it just needs to be like, you know, none of that needs to be happening to him. And I think it was just the visual of.
I didn't even hear that part.
Okay, he's like, here it is. And he's just like, because 1 whole dose was like, he just looked at the weight and he just took the whole thing. So anyways, everyone's treated. We had no itchy butt when she woke up. It worked that fast.
Now, did the worms come out in her poop? Will you have to see them?
I haven't seen.
How many is an infestation?
She said she went yesterday, but I didn't get to see it.
Is like an infestation
I don't know.
Like hundreds
There's
of
different levels, and I don't know. I'm just saying it's something you can have in your cabinet if for some reason, because here's the thing. They're active at night. So your kid's going to have an itchy butt at night, and you don't want to be running around to a pharmacy at 1 a.m. So just put it in your cabinet, because if you see it, you know that's what it is, and you can just dose it. Oh my gosh. I'm shocked that I've not dealt with it in 15 years, to be honest.
I kind of feel like now that
felt very dirty.
You've had worms in the butt, you can have a puppy. Like, I mean, I don't know, like this whole, the puppy's going to bring in dirt and stuff. I mean,
it's not so much the dirt. It's just the responsibility. Like half the time I can't even get somewhere on time. And if the puppy and the dog's lost in the neighborhood, like I don't.
Outside. It's fine. Just put it in the back. Just get a fence. You'll be fine. Okay. Anyways, I mean, you've had worms.
Worm saga over. So I'm going to add that medicine to our little stash and sick blue bags.
Do your
Amazon.
kids do probiotics after they get sick? Do they do probiotics every morning and everything?
We're not that good about it, but we do have probiotic gummies.
Yeah, we do gummies.
I have 2 kids that literally they're like it's like the first thing they get every day, and then other kids are just like, I don't want that.
Same with ours. And then we have like elderberry gummies. We do. We always keep Tylenol and Motrin on in case we have one of those high fevers that needs to go back and forth between the two. What else? Anything else? Oh, you like that spray, the road rash first aid spray?
Oh, the stuff you spray. I sprayed on my crotch after birth.
What
is it? Yeah, 'cause it's like a topical numbing one. Yeah, it's great.
The
Dermaplast
or something.
Well, with my first, I had like horrific stitches. So
I had no idea you could put that
on
stuff
there.
on your vagina. I guess you could put everything.
I'm not putting it in it.
On it. I said on it.
On the outside. That stuff's great. That'll numb a cut.
Oh, Lindy's also really big into the puke bags, the emesis bags. We've talked about this
the
before.
Blue puke bags.
Yeah.
We call them sicky bags.
And then they can just puke right into them.
Yeah, they're like, Mom, I need a sicky bag. And then I throw it away. I think because I was done, we used to have the pink basket from the hospital, the throw up basket. Well, then who's going to clean it? I don't want to clean it.
We just do bowls. We have so many bowls.
But I don't want to clean the bowls.
I know.
So I just throw the bags away.
Every time I had a home birth, we had to have 2 bowls, like one if I puked and one for the placenta. And I never puked. But anyways, I would get a set of like metal bowls every time. So that's 5. So I have like 5 sets of metal bowls, and then they just became the puke bowls.
Oh.
But this is also your yearly PSA that nothing kills the really intense stomach bug but Clorox. So your Clorox wipes, your Clorox spray, that does not kill. No Lysol does not kill it. Does not kill it. No. I literally have been known to put straight Clorox in a bowl and stick my hands in it and then clean. It's just terrible because I am that really, really bad one that like out of both ends at one time one. I would rather give birth 10 times over, like literally like back to back to back to back, give birth to 10 children from beginning of labor to the end than have that stomach bug for 24 hours.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
There's nothing you can do about it. Like, it's awful.
It's so bad. And there's nothing because it hurts. I don't remember it hurting as a kid. Just remember puking as a kid. But maybe I'm just so old that the whole thing just like hurts now and it's terrible. Yeah. It's over quickly though, which is good. Yeah. Anything else we can think about? Those really, really early years where like there are certain things that most kids are going to get by the time they're 3 or 4. You know, you have roseola, which is like back to like this crazy what the world's trying to do to anxiety in moms. Like, hey, let's give them this like unknown fever for 5 days and then let's give them a rash. Why doesn't the rash come before the fever? Why doesn't the rash come and then you're like, oh, I know they're going to have a fever for 4 days and they're going to be fine.
Is the rash something else or is the rash the end of the fever?
It's but it's just, it's insane. It's like, oh, look, now you know what they had. Those 4 days you were anxious, it's just some mild childhood illness that everybody has to have. Hand, foot, and mouth is crazy contagious. Crazy. But I think it's another one of those that's contagious before you even know you have it. I remember Benjamin was here with me at work and woke up from his nap with a fever. He was like 10, 11 months old. That ended up being hand, foot, and mouth. And Benjamin nicely gave it to probably, in terms of like siblings and babies here, probably 20 people. It was terrible. Was the bounce house was up here before we like had extra inventory. And so he had like crawled around the bounce house. Ugh, sorry, everybody who went down with that one. But it's like one of those things you just have to like, they just all have to get it.
Yeah, it just happens.
I got a case at Great Wolf Lodge too. That's when the older kids got it. That place is like a petri dish. You want to get some of that stuff knocked out. Some of those early childhood viruses.
When was the last time you went there?
Pre-COVID. The kids have been with Hannah's family a couple of times, and they actually didn't, knock on wood, didn't get sick.
Yeah, the last time we came home and they were all fine. They didn't get anything. But it's
all touch and go.
It's hit or miss.
Yeah. But just remember that, like, to feel the feelings and like call a friend and go be bananas with them because it's okay. But remember also to take care of yourself. I feel like that's something that like I see all the time in the group, and especially like here in the warehouse is like when kids get sick, like most likely no matter how much you love on your kids, you'll get it last. Because that's just like motherhood, and Murphy law.
And it's hard too because, you know, you hear to take care of yourself too. And sometimes after you've literally taken care of all these other people, you don't even have the energy to take care of yourself. So then, of course, then you just put it, it's like more pressure. I got to do another thing. But
Agreed.
like, whether it's literally sitting and doing nothing, like just take the time to.
Yeah. But just remember to nourish your own body
chill.
and stuff like that. Like, and you will get to the point. I'm going to jinx myself right now, where you won't get sick every time your kid gets sick. I think in those beginning years, you start to maybe get sick every time your kid gets sick. But prior, like that last year before COVID, when my kids got the stomach bug for the first time ever in my parenting history, I didn't get it. Where I'm a hold and puker. Like at this point, you know, I'm going to get it. You know, I'm going to hold them while they throw up. I want them to feel safe.
Yeah.
For the most part. But then I have some that are like, have very like engineering brains who go straight to the toilet and throw up in the, like, you know, and then I have some that don't even care at all and will just puke wherever they are. And it doesn't matter on age. It's so weird. Like their little brains, are like, I'm going to get this right. And I'm going to get it all where it's supposed to go. And then there's other ones that are like,
Just don't care.
I feel like crap. I'm going to just puke right here. Oh. So funny. Then I have some that fight it. I don't know. Puke so weird. I don't know.
And random, but like I'm big on like the saline, just the nasal spray.
Yep.
And even like a good like salt gargle.
Yeah.
Like if you feel some stuff, which is kind of weird, and like a neti pot too with like the saline.
Yeah. I'm getting old. I really like tea and socks.
Yeah.
And hoodies. I think just general, whether I'm sick or not. I've literally had this like emotional acceptance of the fact that like there's really few things that make me happier right now than like being warm. Being warm. Like when did warmth become like I'm literally like 80 years old now.
Well, and back in the office is like
so it's so cold back there, and I'm
cold.
like I'm getting tired midday because my body's trying to stay warm the whole time. But no, like literally, like I think like a really good pair of socks like brings me a lot more joy right now than a lot of other things. God, I'm old, but it's fine.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
good.
Almost tempted for like indoor slippers, but I don't.
You're not quite there yet.
I'm not quite. I don't know.
Maybe
I am. Maybe
you have to get
I'm not.
to 40 first.
I'm close.
You're close.
Close.
Indoor slippers. That's what you're getting.
That's what I'm getting.
All right, guys, stay healthy, stay good, wash your hands, and we'll catch you next time.